So about those Jordan restocks. And as a creator, it doesn't matter. At some point in time, you will get caught in you thinking something is one thing and it being a totally different thing, okay? Happens to everyone. Hopefully you guys are nice in the comment sections, okay? Because we thought that we would see just a range of restocks for Jordan Brand, and that was the case, just not for the United States. And of course, most of our audiences, at least for me, it's definitely here in the United States. But if you're watching from anywhere else, hey, I appreciate you. Just go ahead and drop where you may be watching from. Because I think it's always cool just to see like, oh my goodness, the reach you may have that it's in other countries thanks to the internet. So yeah, we thought. Now, were these affecting me? No, because I had no intention of going after anything. I didn't even go after any of these drops when they originally released. But y'all don't play about the Black Metallic 5. I've learned that. Looking in comment sections, okay, that was like the pair people were consistently writing they wanted, they were really hoping they could get, because I get it. Who wants to pay the $400 or $500 resale price for this shoe, especially if it is one of the shoes you wanted so badly in 2025? So unfortunately, this doesn't look like your opportunity. I really do hope that maybe there is a restock within the United States later on so that you have a chance, right? Pay the retail price, get your shoe, go on with your life, and just enjoy it on foot. I wish that was the case, but it's just not. So you know, what can you do? What can you do? Now, of course, there's always the next drop, right? Because based on when this video is dropping, we had the I will say this really does fit of like highly anticipated for the Air Jordan 4 Undefeated making a return now for the actual general public, because in 2005, it was not for the general public, with 72 pairs. There are certainly some differences, and for some people, they love the 2025 more than the 2005, and you know, we saw Travis's thoughts and I shared my thoughts on that. So you can go ahead and watch. I appreciate, you know, you guys really engaging with that video. But yeah, if you're going for that, I really wish you the best. I know people are saying, like, I've seen some say it would sit. I just don't know about that. If it'll sit, I don't know. I think people have so much FOMO when it comes to this pair. I don't know about it sitting. Now, I know some are very excited for the Steel 10 to return. I've only owned one Jordan 10 in my lifetime. It was the Bobcat 10. I just really love the colorway. I love the orange and navy and gray. I just thought it looked really good. Only owned one. So 10s aren't necessarily a silhouette I chase after and that I absolutely just love and adore. But for some of you, that's been the pair that you've long awaited for a return. So wishing you luck on that this weekend. But let's talk about these 2025 releases real fast, and then we're going to get to some other things. 2025 has proven to be a year of be careful what you ask for, because you don't get to control how it rolls out, the cadence of what happens for it. The most you can really control, right, is your own interactions, your reactions to things, how you choose to spend your own money, okay? Because Jordan Brand, I'm not saying like they're necessarily going for broke, right? But they're throwing everything at consumers this year. Everything you possibly wished they would retro or let out of the vault, they're doing that. Of course, there's still some things left in the vault, right? I keep seeing people say like, let's release the Eminem 4. I've seen that. But they've thrown a lot out. I don't care whether it has to do with foam posits, Bread 85s, Wu-Tang Dunks, this recent pair we're seeing now with the Undefeated 4, Chicago Lows, Steel 10s, we saw the flu games, playoffs, like there's just so much, okay, that they're certainly throwing at you as a consumer. Even if you were somebody wishing for all of this to come back, maybe you didn't want it to come back at this high a clip, this high a cadence right now. Because funny enough, now people are in the comment section saying that like Jordan Brand needs to slow down. This is just too much. How are we supposed to keep up? Quite frankly, I don't think you are supposed to keep up, right? Like this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is able to release product after product after product. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't think it's ever been logical for you to think that, like, I'm supposed to keep up with all of these releases. If you're able to do that because you can afford it, then great. And in 2025, I think affordability and accessibility are very much so confused for people. I think people are confused about affordability and accessibility, right? Let's be real. Credit cards and buy now, pay later, they've made a lot of things seem accessible to people, not necessarily affordable. Just because you can access it, because you can charge it to a card, and yes, it has interest that gets tacked on, or because you can rack up buy now, pay later balances, that means something is accessible to you. But if it puts you in a worse financial position, then you couldn't actually afford it. So always be mindful of what you can afford as an individual, as a household, as a consumer, versus just what a brand is putting out. They're supposed to put out things that you are going to demand and you're going to want. You, as an adult, have to use some discernment, and you need to have some discipline, and you need to be okay missing out sometimes, okay? It is not the end of the world. I promise you, if you don't get a shoe, you will be okay, all right? It's just fine. I'm gonna have somebody get mad that I said that in the comment section, but it's just fine, okay? So it really has been, be careful what you were wishing for, be careful what you ask for, because Jordan Brand's giving you everything that you possibly could have wanted. And now it's causing some people to feel like they're drowning month after month trying to keep up, okay? Just, I would say don't strain yourself trying to keep up. All right, so we see the shirt, okay? Got my Washington Mystics hat on. I wasn't originally going to make a video about, this topic, but one of you requested that, hey, you were curious on my thoughts around the CBA negotiations because there's so much misinformation in the world, which you are 100% correct. There is, and you would like to hear my thoughts. And then another longtime viewer said, hey, just curious on your thoughts regarding a WNBA lockout because this is kind of in your realm of things that you like to talk about. And I do. I usually talk about this in other parts of the internet and on my platforms, not necessarily on YouTube. I hate to say it, but if you think trolls are bad other places, like YouTube is a different beast just because people have so much anonymity. And I know that people will say, oh, it's just the internet. Just let it, roll off your back. Don't care about it. Very easy to say, however, when you are trying to stay involved and engage with your community and you're scrolling comments and, possibly having to check DMs and you get death threats and you have people telling you to kill yourself and you are being called very racist things, okay? It's what DMs have looked like since 2024, unfortunately, depending on what you're speaking about. Then, yeah, no, that's not great. Like, who wants to deal with that, okay? Just as an individual. Like, who? I don't, okay? I don't. So I am pretty strategic about how I may choose to talk about some things and on what platform and how I choose to embed it. I already explained that when it came to the Angel reshoot. Absolutely excited for the AR1. And trust me, just based on this shirt, we will possibly see some hit dogs holler in the comment section because unfortunately, talking about women's sports or just simply saying that women should be paid more of their worth and value, that tends to trigger people. I'm not really sure why, because someone simply wanting more for themselves, it doesn't mean that they're snatching anything away from you. Especially if you don't play in the league and you're not a professional athlete. They're not snatching anything away from you. I just want to go ahead and make that clear. So unfortunately, if we see some crazy stuff in the comment sections we don't normally see, it's probably in relation to this little segment right here. And I'm going to do my best to try to keep this short. So there is a lot of misinformation. So you saw this shirt if you watched the WNBA All-Star game. They wore this shirt. They are in current CBA negotiations. Their current contract will expire. I believe it's October 31st. And they are simply fighting for more, better equity, okay? Especially when it comes to revenue share. There's so many other things they're fighting for, but revenue share more importantly. And I know that's a big misconception that, oh, the WNBA players want to get paid what the men get paid. That's not it at all, okay? Asia Wilson is not demanding or requesting to be paid what Steph Curry is paid, okay? Far from it. They are simply asking for more equitable revenue share. If you look at the men's side, 50%. Revenue share is going to the players, okay? And then when you look at the women's side, I believe the number is 9.3%. That disparity is insane. And I would go ahead and ask you this, especially if you are someone who is adamantly against the women demanding more in their CBA negotiations. I would just ask you this, to keep it plain and simple, right? To kind of hit it home for you. I'm sure we all have mothers, right? So go to your mom, possibly your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, aunt, a cousin, a friend, your daughter if she's in the workforce. And I want you to ask her if she thinks that she is justly paid and compensated. Also in relation to men that possibly do the exact same job that she does, has the same output, same production. Matter of fact, her production is growing at an exponential rate. The numbers are there. She can show her employer the numbers are there. Matter of fact, they boast about it. Up 20%, up 30%, up this, up that, exploding. And yet the deals being signed, let's say by her employer, paying them massively, okay? I'm talking like a 2 billion worth in terms of a TV deal. Okay. But then they're simply asking like, "Hey," and you ask them this, "Do you think that you should be getting more based on everything you bring to the table?" And there's a likely chance they're going to tell you, "Yes, I do think I should be getting more." Right? And they're going to run down for you all the reasons why, okay? They're going to have facts, they're going to have receipts. And then I want you to look them in the face and go, "I absolutely don't think that you deserve more. I think the peanuts that you're getting, that's all you deserve." And I just want you to go ahead and relay back in this comment section what their reaction is to being told that from you. Because mind you, kid, that's how it hits me when people are just so against these women fighting for knowing their worth. I don't think it should be that complicated for you to understand, especially if you ever tried to negotiate a raise for more benefits, pay. That's what they're doing. I think that it gets lost because we think of pro athletes and them having these astronomical, earning potential versus maybe what we do because we're not athletes, just working 9 to 5s. Listen, in working 9 to 5s, a lot of us at some point have made more than these rookies coming into the league. And we're not one in a million people, okay, athletically or in any specific skill set, right? We're just not. So it's not asking to get paid what the men are. They're simply asking for equity and revenue share. And when you look at the growth of this league, it is insane. So for people to also say, because I wore the shirt, everyone watches women's sports, you'll have a lot of trolls that will say, well, no, they don't. No one watches women's sports. Who cares? If no one watches and no one cares about the WNBA, you wouldn't have Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Detroit paying $250 million each to be able to have a seat at the table. You wouldn't have additional cities vying and trying their best to get a seat at the table. You just wouldn't, right? So take feelings out of it and let's just look at facts and numbers. Also, you'll have people throw out, well, they're losing 40 and 50 million a year. I would ask you, can you show me the financial statement in which you actually know where that comes from? The NBA doesn't open their books to the WNBA. So they haven't opened them for you either. So is that just a number you're throwing out because you've heard it? And if that's so, I would actually say maybe go ahead and read this book here on the screen because it's probably going to help kind of explain a lot because that's like one of the number one things that trolls want to stand on. And then the second one usually is centered around where they're not profitable. We're talking about revenue share. How many tech startup companies are not profitable for a very long time? That doesn't stop their individuals from being paid what they're actually worth because the long-term vision is there. It's there. And I find it interesting that you care about this business entity not being profitable, as you say. But a lot of you are using buy now, pay later services. Klarna hasn't been profitable for a very long time. They started in 2005. I think they lost like $100 to $200 million, I think, in like one of these recent quarters or years. I'll go ahead and put the facts up here. So again, it's very selective outrage about why you think something needs to be profitable to an extent of your eyes for them to simply want better equity and benefits. And a reminder, they're not Venmoing you to be able to get paid more too, right? Like they're not directly holding their hand out to you. This is to billionaires. I think we have to take a step back and ask ourselves, is the 99%, why are we caping for like billionaires in the 1%? Why? Okay? So, and in terms of a lockout, if a lockout happens, a lockout happens. I will be productive next summer. Yes, it's going to be hurt. It will hurt some because you look at the peripheral of those that work within the league and the industry and adjacent to the industry, right? Like shutdown of a season or start of a season is not, something that you want to happen. But long term, if it's going to help these women, remember, they're not just fighting for right now, they're fighting for the future. Think about parents right now. When you're fighting for more for yourself, that's because you also know you want a better future, a better tomorrow for your children and what's left behind. That's what they're doing for the future stars and the future players that are going to come into this league. So unfortunately, if you do have to draw a hard line, and as they say, stand on business, then maybe a lockout does have to happen. I don't think it's the end of the world the way people say, because listen, the new money coming to this table, you don't want to have a lockout because you don't want to deter more money coming into this league. You don't. So I truly do hope that Kathy and these owners listen to these players because it's the right thing to do. Okay, so that's where I stand. Hopefully it's kept civil in the comments, okay? Hopefully it is, but I absolutely stand with him, okay? They said pay us what you owe us. Pay them more. To close this out, it feels like sneakers is a social experiment in some ways right now in 2025. Now, Tom Sachs has another shoe coming out. Not even diving into all of that with him. No desire for the shoe, of course, for myself. But everything that is occurring like on the back end that like consumers can participate in, it's like boot camp now. It's not even like the do a little kickflip, okay, or shoot a jump shot or something. No, it's like, hey, not even a scavenger hunt. I thought the Atmos scavenger hunts were pretty cool. No. It's like you need to actually do all of these activities. It's like it really is like a boot camp for sneakers for you to be able to have an opportunity to rack up points to get a shoe. This is where we are, right? And the only thing I can think of is like the person putting on the clown makeup. So like, I'm just saying, consumers have to take some responsibility. If you feel like brands are ever playing in your face, are you standing there and letting them do that? It's a genuine question, because that's a lot for you to like have the opportunity to get a shoe. Now, listen, on the flip side, it is promoting, okay, physical activity, and I love that. I do. I love people being more active. This is a super inactive country, okay? So I love people being more active. It's just interesting. It really is. Also, Nike, why are you dropping an Air Force One with flies on it? Like, I'm just gonna be real, because a lot of us are thinking that's a shit shoe. Is that why there are flies all over it? Because like, what is there? They even are made to look realistic, right? They have depth on the actual design of the fly, so it looks like it's coming off the shoe. Oh, you have very talented people that work there. I know you didn't run out of ideas, and this was intentional because you have to go through like how many teams of red tape to get a shoe to clear. So this cleared, and the flies won. Okay. Got it. I guess this is where we are again. So you drop your comments. Are you participating in said boot camp? Some of y'all were flirting with EQL's admin on social media to be able to hopefully get you that undefeated 4. If it worked for you, okay, just let me know. Okay, did it work for you? Please let me know if it worked for you. Are you going for that fly Air Force One? Right? It's not fly. Like it's not fly like that. No, it's also making me think of the movie The Fly. So yeah, do with that what you will. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. If you didn't catch my most recent video, just giving Bad Bunny his flowers and running down my Bad Bunny Adidas collection, please be sure to check that out. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.